On today's episode of the Launchpad podcast, we are talking about what player archetypes would you like to see around Jalen Green and Paolo Banchero, and then we're going to have a little bit of Rockets trivia for you. So don't go away. We have a great show for you today on the Launchpad podcast.
Houston, Roger, we copy and standing by for your TV.
They throw it up. Oh, there goes Jalen Green. Humans can't fly. Rebound picked up by Green, who's back in. Plays it ahead of board. Back to Green. Oh, it ain't time for Thanksgiving, but there's plenty of yams to go around for everyone.
Welcome into the episode of the Launchpad podcast presented by Clutch City Control Room. As always, I'm your host, Don Knock. I'm joined by my fellow host, Paulo Alves. You can find me on Twitter at Don Knock. You can follow the pod at Clutch City CR. If you go into the description and the bio of that account, you find the link tree with the YouTube, Spotify, and Apple podcast links. We want to thank everyone for helping us reach our goal of 1,000 subscribers. Much appreciated. You're all incredible, and we reached our goal probably a little bit quicker than we even thought we were going to. So again, thank you to everyone that helped with that. Our next big push here, leave a comment. If you have some thoughts about the show, hit us up with a comment. We're doing a good job about replying to all of those, and we'll make sure we get back to you quickly. But that really helps us as well if you leave a comment in the YouTube chat. So Paulo, go ahead and tell the people where they can find your stuff.
Yeah, y'all can find me on Twitter at Paulo Alves NBA. That's PAULOALVES NBA. Everything I do from podcasts like this one to the live shows on Twitter Spaces will find itself linked on there.
And we are joined once again bi-weekly by founder of Clutch City Control Room, as well as host of Locked on Rockets and the Monday episode of Locked on NBA, Jackson Gatlin. Jackson, tell the people where they can find all of your work.
What's up? You can track me down on Twitter at JT Gatlin. That's where all the damage is for Locked on Rockets, Locked on NBA, State of the Rockets, and everything to do with Clutch City Control Room.
Perfect. So we have an interesting show for y'all today. We are in the dog days of summer, so we're going to have a little bit of fun with the second two segments, or I should say the last two segments. We're going to do a little bit of Rockets trivia, me versus Jackson. So if you want to see some stiff competition, hang around for that. In our first segment, we're going to talk about what player archetypes you would like to see around a Jalen Green, Paolo Banchero core. Jackson, unfortunately for him, was lost in a certain jungle that will remain nameless, along with Clutch Fancaros.
No. I was never lost in the jungle. I was happily in the jungle. I found my way there, and I still think the jungle is number one on the board. So let me set the record straight. The jungle was a choice. Anyways.
Well, there's a lot of things that are choices. We'll leave it at that. But again, you're out there with a friend of the show, Clutch Fancaros. Clutch fans. Paolo, you obviously have been the captain of the Banchero boat. I'm going to refrain this time from flashing my incredible boat graphic, but go ahead and tell us what your thoughts are on how you need to surround Jalen and a Banchero type of franchise cornerstone pairing.
Well, to me, it's just like any other superstar combo. When you have two offensive options, you want guys besides that can play defense, shoot threes, and do what's expected of them at that position. It doesn't really deviate much from that. I think at the although I think Paulo can be a 3, let's assume Paulo's at the 4 because otherwise people will come after me. Assuming Paulo's at the 4 and Jalen Green's at the 2, my one would be a Patrick Beverly, Marcus Smart type, someone who can shoot, someone who can attack the defense, someone who off of the advantages created by the other two, someone who can play defense on the other side, and that can, in spurts, if need be, run the offense and they can get the team into sets. But that's a premium. That's not a must-have, right? And then at the 3, I'm just looking for your standard 3-and-D wing, your Mikal Bridges archetypes, a guy that can defend multiple positions, guy that's the better shooter. He is the better. Someone who can attack closeouts. They can make the extra pass when the up defense comes even better. And then at the center position, I'd want a Nerlens Noel type, a rim runner, a guy that can protect the rim, a guy that can, if he can switch onto the perimeter, even better, but that's not a necessity. If he can shoot threes while being a rim runner, that's also awesome. That gives you more options. But the key factor being, give me someone who can protect the rim, give me someone who can be a defensive anchor, and then all the other characteristics to me are a bonus. That's one construct. I could also see just a small ball five. A Garuba type, a Tarisan type, someone like that would also work, and then you play switching 1 through 5 on defense at that point, and basically just guys that can be used as tools by our 2 stars to create advantages for them or to capitalize on the advantages that they do create. Since we're not going to do much draft talk on this episode, I will shout out a guy that I think would fit really well at the type of point guard that I'm looking for, or the type of I'll call it a point guard. Dylan Terry from Arizona. He is so just so you know the type of archetype I'm talking about. 6'7" point guard. He's really quick on his feet. He has a 7-foot wingspan. He's someone who can shoot at a decent level. He'll have to get better at that, but he's also someone who's really smart, who, from being a point guard, is really good at reading the advantages that are created by his teammates at Arizona, Benedict Mathurin, for example, and making quick, sharp, good decisions and quickly capitalizing on those. Because how many times have we seen James Harden create an advantage and the ball comes out to Daniel House and a long closeout comes, and Daniel House all of a sudden he dodges the closeout, but he doesn't know what to do with the ball anymore. I want the clear opposite of that. I want a guy that can finish at the rim, can shoot threes, and can make that pass. And then he has plus length. If he can be a good defender, that's also a key part. I think Delantari fits that mold. He'll probably be available at 17, so he'd be someone who I'd be really interested in because he fits that mold. And even in college, he settled for that mold and he did the best with what he could. Within his role. I think that's important to have. I think KPJ could also become this type of point guard if you take some responsibility away and you ask him to focus on his defense and his shooting. But yeah, I think it's important for that player to be someone who knows his role and that knows that number 2 and number 1 are Paulo and Jalen, and the rest of that's how the hierarchy works, and your job is to if you need be, you can run some offense, but your job is to capitalize on the advantages that those two create.
So I didn't hear Christian Wood in there. So you trading Christian Wood in this scenario?
I am waving Christian Wood. I'm joking.
Waving Christian Wood.
Didn't hear KPJ in there either.
Yes, you did.
So
Yes, you did.
I missed KPJ's name.
I said KPJ can clearly play that role. I think he has the shooting. He has the tools to be the defender, and he was tailored
to be fair. It's 3 letters. It was very quick. You blink and you miss it type moment.
Yeah. So Jackson, how are you building around your newly accepted Rockets obvious draft pick Paolo Banchero and current cornerstone Jalen Green?
Well, seeing as how Paolo Banchero might not actually be the draft pick. No, I kid. I digress. All signs are pointing towards Paolo right now.
So some pretty signs too. Very, very beautiful, illuminated with lights.
Yep.
Yeah, some nice neon.
Yeah.
No, so I agree with largely everything that Paolo said. I think that especially the way that we see the NBA trending these days, it makes roster construction such a unique, I don't know, like a fun challenge, but I think the Rockets being in a position to have 2 dynamic offensive forces, both at the guard spot on the perimeter with Jalen, and then potentially on the interior with Paolo, who can, and that's the interesting thing about Paolo, right? Is if he extends the range a little bit further, he's got kind of that face-up game to him. So right now you do kind of view him as more of like an interior player, 18 feet and in, is where his bread and butter is. But if he kind of extends that range a little bit further out, then he'll be able to kind of create from all over the floor reasonably. And having two dynamic guys like that gives you a lot of flexibility, at least offensively, for how you're building an NBA roster. And I think kind of straying away from just the blanket archetypes for each position for the point, for the 3, and for the 5, like Paolo already illustrated, because I don't have any pushback there. I think all of those, archetypes would be phenomenal. The ones that he listed out, kind of essentially you're looking for 3 and D type players to put around those two forces. But I do think that, especially the way the NBA is progressing, that with two guys like that, with Jalen and potentially Paolo, you're going to be able to play make kind of by committee, right? And we've seen this be a sticking talking point for a lot of this past season with the Rockets was, can Kevin Porter Jr. be a point guard, right? Like, is he a point guard? And I think a big part of that kind of doesn't matter, right? Like, if you can create at a high level, it doesn't necessarily matter if you're, a Chris Paul, a Kyle Lowry, a floor general, whatever, that old school style point guard pass first mentality. Like, I don't think you need that when you look at how a lot of NBA teams are constructed these days, because what it boils down to is, can you generate high quality offense, and, where on the floor, what positions are you seeking to, use to your advantage? What players on the floor for your team can create an inherent advantage offensively? Because that's what the NBA boils down to. It boils down to creating an advantage on offense. And whether that means you're creating an advantage because you have Nikola Jokic as your 5 and you run a lot of action through him, and that's how you create openings, whether you run a lot of north-south action, high pick and roll, whether you run a lot of off-ball movement and you set guys up that way, whether you run a lot of backdoor action, you have a lot of cutting, like all these different schemes, all these different offensive sets, everything that you see at an NBA level is all about creating an advantage. And so when you look at the guys that you want to put around Jalen and Paolo for that matter, I think that one thing that I don't think it's focused on enough is you want guys with length. Like, this might be so simple to say, but you can look for a skill set in a player and say, yeah, we want like a 3 and D guy at the 3 next to Jalen and Paolo. But I think length is a very important part to also factor into that. I think that's why you see a guy like Mikal Bridges, who has a lot of success with the Phoenix Suns, or when you see a guy like Herb Jones, right? Shout out to Rockets fan favorite Herb Jones, who's experiencing a lot of success in his rookie season because he is a lengthy defender, right? Like, he smothers other guards because he's just got the size and the length to make their life a living hell while also maintaining that foot speed. And so while we might look at a guy like Jayshawn Tate, who is a phenomenal defender, complete, like, he's going to out hustle you, he's going to outwork you, he's going to use his body really well. Like, I still remember, like, not this past season, but the previous season, there was a possession that was so wild from Jayshawn Tate during his technical rookie year, where he like completely bodied the hell out of Kyrie Irving, like on a baseline, like drive attempt. Like, he had Kyrie in triple threat stance and he like completely bodied up into Kyrie to where Kyrie had nowhere to go. And it's like that level of like technical skill on the defensive end, how to leverage your body and like force the offensive player to steer them to wherever you want to go on the court is an absolute art. That said, Jayshawn Tate's only 6'4", right? Like, he doesn't have the greatest wingspan in the world. So there's a limitation to his defensive ceiling at the end of the day, where even though he hustles, even though he's a great defender for his current given height, right? There's a cap on how good he can be. There was a cap on how good PJ Tucker as a defender could be. Maybe you give those guys, make one of those guys like 6'8", 6'9", give them a bigger wingspan. We're talking about like a DPOY caliber level defender. So I do think it's important to have length at those positions around Paolo, around Jalen, especially considering that right now we think Jalen has the tools to be an all-NBA caliber defender, and he clearly wants to be, and he made significant strides throughout his rookie season to be a good defender. I think there's some question marks about Paolo's defense, but he has the physical tools to be a good defender, and that, at least is, reason enough for optimism at the NBA level if he can buy in on that end of the floor. You still want to put plus defenders around those guys. And that might seem like a very simple like equation, but I think between those two guys, you're going to have more than enough offense to like run an NBA system and to, blow other teams out of the water.
I know the GM who's now with the Magic, when he was previously at his last stop, it was at the Milwaukee Bucks, and he was there, I think it was like 2008 to 2000 15 or 17 or something along those lines. I can't remember exactly when, but when he was there, if you go back and look at a lot of the players that the Bucks drafted or, went after in free agency, it was a lot of guys that had these really crazy plus wingspans. Like Eric Bledsoe has a crazy plus wingspan, Chris Middleton, Giannis, Thon Maker. That was the one where it was really like, we're just kind of getting a little spicy with it. We're going to, take Thon Maker into a big project here. And, when that was happening, I was like, they may be onto something here, like having all these guys that just have these pterodactyl wingspans. It just makes defending easier because you're not, as long as those guys aren't like total stiffs, right? And most of the guys the Bucks were going after were guys that were pretty athletic, had the big wingspan, and then, their other skills, they have some, but we'll see, how those skills really round out. And
did you just tank my whole point by saying the Magic are doing this, and like now we look at the Magic and they're horrible? So it's
Bucks.
no.
Thank you. I was like, can we use the better example here, please?
I was using the Bucks example. Yeah, I was using the Bucks example, but the Magic have tried to do the same thing. I think some of the Magic's issue has been having a lot of redundant players, which the Rockets have a lot of redundant positions right now. I think a lot of the Rockets skill sets aren't necessarily redundant. Like a guy like Jayshawn Tate and a guy like Kenyon Martin Jr. do not play the same at all, right? But I'll never forget, like, when that Bucks drafting run was going on, I was like, this is such a great idea. I want the Rockets to implement that. And not long after that, epiphany came to me, they were like, all right, the Rockets are now trading Clint Capella and we're going to run small ball. And I was like, this is literally the opposite of what I've been asking for. And we had a big run of, playing undersized. Rebounding was, once Trevor Ariza left, I feel like Trevor Ariza was kind of underrated as a rebounder and someone that boxed out really effectively. And since he's been gone, I feel like the Rockets have not been a very good rebounding team. Getting rid of Capella also kind of played into that. But, I would love to have more length, more size on this team to surround these guys and not play undersized so much, because it was an interesting experiment, right? It was an interesting experiment, right? But I think the trends now, and this is kind of, I'll get into a follow-up question here. The trends now seem to be having large wing players with length and strength, and then having guys that are very switchable. And, even if you're not someone who is a wing, right? Like you're someone like Marcus Smart, where there's still some switchability there. I think what we're going to do now, we're going to go to break, and then we're going to push the follow-up question into the next segment. So when we come back, we're going to talk a little bit about how this finals has impacted, how you view team building. So we'll cover that, and then we'll go into our trivia segment. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. And continuing on to our second segment here on the Launchpad podcast, when we closed our last segment, we were just about to do some follow-up on, how you build around Jalen Green and Paolo Banchero, franchise cornerstone pairing.
Possibly Paolo Banchero.
Okay. To be kind to Jackson, we'll say possibly a Paolo Banchero, future Rockets Hall of Famer pairing. Anyway, so what I was going to ask, right? This playoffs has really been defined by big wings. Jimmy Butler has had amazing playoffs. Jason Tatum has had a very good playoffs. The Warriors are giving him a little trouble that first game, but he bounced back decently in the second game. Jalen Brown, Clay, not so much, but there's obviously Giannis, and we could name off a few more of these guys that are these big wings that have really had success. We're gonna have Jalen, lock that in. We're doing this hypothetical, having Paolo Banchero. So those are two guys that you would consider probably wings, right? Some people consider Banchero more of a big. You can construct that however y'all want for this follow-up question. But, looking at the Celtics, looking at the Warriors, obviously don't like looking at the Warriors too much as a Rockets fan, because, that brings up all the feels and the memories and stuff like that. But, looking at these two teams that made it to the finals, they were, I think, 1 and 2 in defensive rating. I can't remember what the offensive ratings were, but I think they were top 10 there as well. But has this playoffs impacted how you view roster construction? And, on top of that, has it impacted how you would view who you would want to put around that pairing? Because, we went over how we want to do the pairing in the first segment, but Has this playoff specifically changed your view on that to any degree?
I'm going first, Paolo. Gosh, so rude. Got to go first.
Go first in the
segment.
first segment. Yes, there you
wanted
go.
to go first again. Just man's over here cutting in line. No, kidding. I think the guys that have really stood out to me this playoff run have been the defensive anchors for their respective teams that have made it deep into the playoffs. We can look at how impactful Bam Adebayo was for the Miami Heat. We can look at how impactful Al Horford has been for the Celtics. We can look at just how impactful Draymond Green has been for the Warriors. You know, what it would set aside your feelings, you know, however vehemently you might hate Draymond Green. The man is an all-world defender, and for good reason, right? He is a year in, year out DPOY caliber defender. He's an intelligent defender. You can switch him onto guards. You can switch him. You can have him on bigs. He's got the insane wingspan, all of it. God, I hate having to compliment him on this podcast. Anyways, so
you're never coming back.
I know, right?
We don't allow any Draymond praise.
Just blacklisted from the show forever. Anyways, right? It's these versatile bigs, and I feel like a majority of them tend to be fours, right? Where they've got like the combination of size and speed and defensive IQ and wingspan to just wreak havoc defensively and to be switchy, flexible bigs where like you see Al Horford get switched onto the perimeter, onto Steph, onto Clay occasionally in this final series. And he's able to hold his own, right? Because he's got the size and the length and the foot speed, but also because he's just a high IQ defender. He doesn't bite on pump fakes that often. Like he's smart with his feet. He adjusts well, moves his feet well, all of it. And I think those types of defenders are the exact reason why Rockets fans, and rightfully so, are so incredibly high on a guy like Usman Garuba, because he's the kind of guy that has all those exact same skill set, all those exact same skills defensively, to where you think, okay, he could be one of those types of guys, at least on the defensive end, right? There's still some big question marks about what his ceiling would look like offensively. Can he, become at least just like a neutral force offensively, like a decent spot up 3-point shooter? What is his actual position? Is he a 4 at the NBA level? Is he a 5? Like how do you exactly deploy him to get the most out of him? And I think when you look at, again, going back to the whole roster construction side of things, I think it is important in some cases to have a legitimate big that you can roll out there, somebody with some size that you can use kind of situationally, like Kevon Looney's that guy for the Warriors, right? Like he's kind of their de facto starting big, but at the same time, like there's some games where he plays like 6 minutes and then he doesn't ever check back in because Steve Kerr and the Warriors have figured out like, okay, this is just not like a Kevon Looney night. And Rob Williams plays that same role for the Celtics.
I will also say, the Warriors center situation, they've tried to, fix that situation a couple of times, right? Drafting James Wiseman, being the foremost example of that. And somehow they always just keep coming back to Looney. So, and it also takes a special type of player to be able to, be the starter, but also know, you're going to go out here and you may play 6 minutes and then that's it. So it's impressive on Looney's part to have been able to embrace that role and not, be down out on it or, be frustrated with them trying to replace him. And he still comes out here and, does his job very effectively. So, as much as I hate praising the Warriors, I think it does take a special type of player to be able to fulfill that type of role.
Because you need that type of player who understands who understands to stay in their lane, right? Like you need the type of player who is more than content to come in and they're going to play defense. They're going to play big if you need a big, right? Because that's what that person is supposed to do, right? You want somebody like 6'10", 6'11", and up, like a legitimate big. They need to be able to defend and they need to be able to rebound. And like, that's all you're going to do. Like you might not get any touches offensively. And it's like, especially at the NBA level, like I feel like it's kind of hard to find somebody that kind of fits all those or checks all of those boxes, which is why like a guy like Clint Capella, right? Back in the days when he was on the Rockets, right? Like Clint was very much a focal point of the Rockets offense, but he didn't necessarily like need to be, right? Like, I mean, he got his touches through James Harden and Chris Paul, and he was very much like kind of the third banana of that big three, if you will, with how effective they were because they valued the vertical spacing that he brought. But that type of player with that type of build where he was agile enough to switch out onto the smaller players, but had enough size to where he could bang with some of the bigger centers and was still honestly a mismatch for them offensively. Like, I mean, he would feast on guys like Nikola Jokic because he just ran the floor so much better than they did. And that's exactly what Kevon Looney provides to the Warriors, the rebounding, the defense, all of that. So that's, I mean, I think that's, to me, like what's kind of stands out is the bigs are so crucial and so important. And when you look at a lot of these bigs, a lot of them play the 4. And so if you bring in a Paolo Banchero, he's your 4. So like, where are you getting the skill set from, if not at your 4 position?
I think it's funny that you brought up, you're talking about you need these bigs with size, and then the 2 names you mentioned are the 6'8" and the 6'9" guy. But your point stands anyways.
But they do have size. Like, that's my point, is like they've got size relative to their position, and they've also, like, the thing about Al Horford and Draymond, right? They've got insane wingspans. Like, that's the other thing that makes them so unique is they do have size and length, going back to the length argument from the first segment, at their relative positions, which is what causes them to be such defensive forces.
The way I see it is it hasn't changed much because the 2 teams in the finals, like the Warriors work because of a complete outlier in what Steph Curry is and a complete outlier into what Draymond is. Like, there's no other player like Draymond, not even close. There's not the Draymond archetype. The more we try and say what Draymond is, there isn't a Draymond archetype because
we've already seen Draymond has the power bonus of being able to just do whatever he wants on the court after he gets that first text gold star like in Mario Kart. So definitely one of a kind. And I will also say we joke around about this, but like having unfortunately had to watch those Rockets versus Warriors playoff series, like his ability to take out the Harden Capella pick and roll, like on both ends of it, was just, it was frustrating to watch, but it was also just like there's no one else that was doing anything like that, like in the league.
So that's what I mean. So I don't think the Warriors team building perspective is replicable at all. I think even Al Horford's a really unique archetype. Like, how many Al Horfords are there in the league? And that's why I keep coming back to, ultimately what you want is you want flexibility. And as a rebuilding team with assets and with so many picks to make, you should be going for that versatility. You should be able to, with the assets you have, you should be able to have a unit that's a small ball unit. Be that Banchero at the 5 with a bunch of wings. Be that Banchero at the 4 and the 5 is like Usman Garuba and you count Banchero as a wing. You want to have a lineup like that. And then you want to.
No. What about a lineup? No. I want to see this next season. Period. I want to see Banchero at the 1, Şengün at the 2, Seawood at the 3, Garuba at the 4, and Bruno Fernando at the 5. I want a Rockets big ball lineup with Banchero at the point.
Yep. It's just, and then I also want there to be a backup center, or he can be the starting center and the switchable one be the backup. That's a traditional center. So you're depending on the team that you're facing, you can switch them. And that's one of the beauties of being a rebuilding team is you're building the team from scratch. You're not tied up in cap space. You're not tied up in luxury tax. You don't have 1 MLE per season. You don't have just 2 tradable picks in the next 7 years that you got to really decide what am I going to do with them. No, you've got picks the entire time. You've got a bunch of cap space. You've got a bunch of picks that you got to make right now. Go and find different types of players, and to me, that's the key. And then the other thing I was going to say is, whatever team, like Jason Tatum is a real outlier on this. I think Paul George is another outlier on this. But I really think that your star players are very, very, very rarely lockdown guys. Just because you spend so many energy on offense, you're not going to be able to spend it on defense. Even specialists, Kawhi Leonard, who everybody considers a lockdown guy, he doesn't play lockdown defense for the first 3 quarters and a half. And then when he really needs to, he will play the lockdown defense to close out the game if it's necessary. But your scoring options usually are not lockdown guys, and because of that, you wanna complement them with these defensive players that are versatile and that can make up for their mistakes. But then if you think there is a Draymond type or someone who will completely change your defense, which in my opinion in this draft would be a Chet Holmgren, someone who will be that one of a kind player that all of a sudden you don't gotta play by these rules. Then yes, you take them, and you can make that choice. But I think on a realistic level, to me, you want bunch of wings. You want to be switchable. You wanna if you're playing size at all positions, you probably want to have someone on the bench who is a little bit smaller but quicker. That's just your lockdown guy on our sim that I talked about last episode as well. That guy was Lou Dort, and you go and you sign someone like that if you need to. Your bench doesn't need to be. I think the point I'm trying to hammer away here is your bench doesn't need to be a mirror of what your starting lineup is in terms of arc depth. It's fine that to have a rim roller starting and a small ball five on the bench. It's fine. It's fine to have a true point guard and then have a I don't know an example an Alperen Sengun who is not a true point guard, but it's a completely different type of player, but it provides you versatility. And I think that's really important. And usually people when they're making their dream teams are like, okay, so I'm gonna get KPJ, Jalen, KJ Martin, Paulo, and I don't know, call it Mark
Miles
Williams,
Turner.
and then my backup's going to be Nerlens Noel. It's going to be Jalen Brunson. It's going to be Josh Christopher at the 2, and then I'm going to find this 3-and-D wing that's basically KJ Martin but worse. I think that's something that I've been thinking about, and I think, as I said, so many assets, so many picks, get different types of players. Free agency is going to come. You're going to have a bunch of cap space. You're likely not going to use it in 2 stars because there won't be 2 stars to trade to there won't be 2 stars to sign. Go and sign different types of role players, see what fits, and you're not going to be able to play them all, and you'll eventually have to trade some. That's fine, and I think that's mostly my philosophy. Get optionality with your backups. And ideally, you want to be able to run the 2 main sets. You want to be able to have a defensive anchor if the other team allows you to do it, and you want to be able to play small ball if the other team allows you to do it as well. And then to Jackson's point about length, I think that's also really important because people always say, "Oh, we're playing thick ball and we can hold them on the perimeter and we don't really need the length." Well, but then you pay that price in the rebounding, and you pay that price because length, as much as strength is important, length allows you to make more mistakes. Length allows you to get beat and recover easily, or more easy than what strength allows you to do. Length allows you to, I think, expend less energy on defense than what strength does. You don't gotta be bullying the guy the entire time, and I think that's also another thing that's really important that I try to take into consideration when I'm looking at these draft prospects is it you can never have enough length.
I think also another thing with length, right, is that like, and this is a kind of a commentary on someone like a Chet Holmgren. When you're going up against someone that has like strength base, right? Like, they may be able to get past them and they may be able to get the shot up or whatever. I think when you have someone that has a lot of length, I think the way that impacts the offense is more along the lines of that shot's not going up because that fear of the length is there, right? And so sometimes it's not as easy to see it because like someone like KJ Martin, right? KJ Martin doesn't have crazy length, but he has crazy bounce. And so a lot of times, like that person is going to go up and get the shot off, and then KJ Martin is having to recover late with the bounce, right? He's having to, jump up and pin that shot or, try to make a block or something like that. Versus like when you have someone like Chet Holmgren there, that person's getting into the lane and they just like see his hand up there and they don't even go for the shot. They just, bounce the ball back out. So I think the impacts of length may not be as immediately obvious as like someone making a highlight block, right? But when you watch and really break down the game, you can see that those guys are going in there and they're seeing that length and then they're not able to even, get a shot off or get a good look off because of it.
In the heart of this entire episode, right, is, we're talking about archetypes. And Paolo, I found it interesting that the first archetype that you alluded to when you were listing out, for the 5 positions for the 3 around a Jalen and a Paolo, I found it interesting that you went, size like a, rim running big, like somebody to play above the rim with Paolo. Do you not think that in a vacuum, Paolo would be better. So like if you had to pick, right, like we can either ignore the defensive side of the ball, or we can just say that whatever this player is, they're going to be the exact same type of defender, right? So like ignore defense, whatever. Do you not think that if you were given the choice between somebody who could provide vertical spacing and play above the rim, but couldn't play away from the basket at all, like no mid-range game, no 3 game, so a Clint Capella type, versus somebody who could play behind the arc and could be a consistent 3 outside shot, but could not play above the rim? Don't you think that, especially with Paolo's play style, the fact that right now a lot of his bread and butter is like 18 feet in, I think, to me personally, some of the issues with like the Rockets 5-out offense is a lot of the point of attack for the 5-out offense, especially this last season, started at the 3-point line. And I think that's where some of the drawbacks were, is because you'd have guys like Jalen and KPJ and even Christian Wood trying to penetrate from the 3-point line, and they would get all these help defenders reaching in and closing off driving lanes, and you get guys rotating over, well before they even make it into the paint to kind of cut off drives. Whereas if you've got a guy like Paolo who can operate from 18 feet in and start the offense that way, so you're not necessarily playing like a true 5-out, you're kind of playing like that mid-post area. You're playing 4-out, but with Paolo kind of operating out of the mid-post. Would that not be a better dynamic than having another guy who's potentially clogging up the paint by being over in the dunker spot and having that extra defender who can then kind of stop Paolo on his drives and when he's like operating on the interior?
I think so. If we're talking exclusively, this is part of why I think it depends on the team you're playing against, but I think it also depends on, ideally you want to have, like, even if it's either one, you want to have both options, one on your bench, one starting. But I actually think, even strictly offensively, right, it's tough because I think they're equally as valid. Because I think Paulo, if we look at him at Duke, he was really good at finding the dunker spot. Like Mark Williams was like getting the easiest looks of all time because Paulo was finding him. Paulo has that pocket pass. Paulo has a dump off pass. Paulo has the ability to be driving.
It's a good lob pass as well.
Good lob passer and be driving, and to be driving and have the defense collapse on him, and he's already ready to not hit the corner shot, who's going to take a while to get there, and the defender will be able to get a closeout off, but get the guy under the rim on the dunker spot immediately. And he is so good at doing that to the point of, I'm not sure, for 2 reasons. Mostly, I'll sum it down to one reason, because then you're 100% reliant on him beating his man rather than just draw help. Because if he just, like, drawing help at the 3-point line is good if you have knockdown shooters, but you're also at the mercy of how good the defense recovers. And I think it's harder to recover if your punishment is coming instantly via the guy on the dunker spot that you're hitting, and he's going to get a dunk no matter what. Like we've seen very few times. I think one that comes to mind is the play where Giannis at the finals last year got the block on DeAndre Ayton. Remember when he shows to help and he's quick enough to somehow get to the dunker spot? Remember how insane that play was? You're not going to see that same play many times even by Giannis himself. And so I think his ability to punish that immediately kind of counterbalances a little bit of the fact that the 3-point shot's worth more points, and the fact that I think you're banking more on him being able to score an ISO by himself with the 3-point threat. But that being said,
I think
really
you meant
close.
to say you're Bancheroing on him more to.
There we go, baby.
I think it's really.
You
close.
can take that to the Banchero. Oh my god! If we don't get at least like one of those next season, shout out to the amazing Rockets broadcasters Craig Ackerman and Ryan Hollins. We need at least one, in the spirit of Bill Worrell, we need at least one take that to the Banchero called next season if he is a Houston Rocket.
Yes, I will be offended if they don't. So, all right, Paulo, are you done with that point?
Yeah, I was just going to say,
finish up real quick.
I know you said to ignore the defensive side of the ball, but I guess it's hard to do that. And when you count that in, unless you're getting a mouse turner type, which are really unique, that's why it's important to also have the rim runner, because Paulo's so good at using his rim running bigs that they won't be as much of a liability as your Rudy Gobert types in Utah, for example.
Well, that and just to clarify that before we move on completely, it was just my point there was not to necessarily ignore the defensive side, but just if you wanted to, right? If we were coming with two hypothetical players here, make them the exact same on defense. I wanted defense to not factor into that decision because I exclusively wanted to look at the offensive skill set. And if you could have two players cloned in a lab, but one was a vertical threat who you'd play out of the dunker spot, and one was somebody you station behind the 3-point line as a 5-out or 4-out big type thing. Just I wanted you to not factor in their defensive capabilities, right? Because I wanted to just focus on the offensive side. That's all I meant from that capacity.
Call it PTSD, but the layup to me is still like the layup or the dunk is still like more of a sure thing, and we've seen this offseason in particular, and I think that's a good point to close it out on. Teams have been living and dying by the 3-point shot more than I've ever seen in the playoffs, and I've seen the Rockets go 0-for-27. But we've seen like part of the reason why it's either a blowout one way or a blowout the other way is whoever shots are falling is the team that's going to win, and they're going to win by a wide margin. And I think that you're kind of, I guess, as a tiebreaker, you're kind of losing a little bit of that volatility if you go with assuming that he's as good at feeding both. You're losing a little bit of that volatility by going for the inside presence, because it's also like, I know this is a really dumb, it's not a dumb hypothetical, but I know it's a really extreme hypothetical. But if you're getting a guy that's going to space the floor but is not a threat at the rim at all, like that's really easily exploitable. Like you can't have guys that literally are not any threat, right? And I guess if you play the guy that's a really good 3-point threat, you could still play him at the dunker spot in certain situation, and he would still get the layup. Like we're not inventing NBA players that can't make layups, but for the hypothetical, I get what you meant.
All right. Well, that is going to do it for us for the second segment. When we come back, we are finally going to get to our incredible Rockets trivia. So if you want to stick around for that, then don't go anywhere. We will be right back. And rolling into our final segment here on the Launchpad podcast, we are going to do a little bit of a fun segment here. Well, fun for, y'all at home. It'll be, the heat of competition for me and old JT Gatlin over there. We are going to do some trivia questions. So this was Paolo's idea, or should I say Alves Trebek? There he is. All right. Go ahead and introduce our format, introduce our game show, how we're going to do this, the scoring, and then we'll roll into it.
Yeah, so basically I'm just going to be reading random questions off of Rockets trivia quizzes online. And after I read the question, the fastest guy to give me the correct answer is going to get a point. And if you are like really quick off the bat and you give the answer and you're wrong and the other person gets it right after you, that person gets 2 points. And so I'll inform you as we go on what the scores are. But yeah,
so we're playing Rockets Jeopardy with Alves Trebek. I love this.
All right, are you all ready?
As I'll ever be. Let's go.
Right.
I'm scared.
So first one is, it's medium difficulty, I would say. Which coach presided over the Rockets' longest winning streak?
Rick Adelman.
It is correct. Jackson's up 1-0. Let me keep up with the scores. All right.
I was like, I was thinking about like, oh, remember how nice it was when Mike D'Antoni went on that winning streak. Like my ADHD is about to kick my ass in this game. All right, let's get it.
Question number 2 is, who was the first Rocket with more than 900 assists in one season?
Calvin Murphy.
That is incorrect. Jackson has a chance to steal.
Okay. More than 900 assists in one season. James Harden.
That is correct. Jackson gets 2 points. Right, so Jackson has 3 points now.
I'm getting cooked. I thought it was Murphy for sure. The first one was an older question. I guess it's not a super old question, but
okay. I think this one's gonna be about speed, so prepare yourselves.
Stop giving us hints.
In Game 6 of the '94 Finals, which Houston player made the last-second block to force a game 7?
Hakeem Olajuwon.
That is obviously correct. Don, you're being too scared.
Easy ones.
You can't
I didn't know if you were gonna say. I thought you were gonna say last second shot, and I was like, was like, it's gonna be Horry, Ellie. Like, who are we gonna have that make this shot? You said block, and I was like,
Don is
oh.
getting absolutely roasted and toasted right now,
I
boys.
told in the
Like,
production meeting, I
bad.
said I was not good at trivia, so hopefully I get one. I'm trying to just get.
What's the
log
mercy
into
rule?
softball.
10-0 at 10-0.
10-0, yeah, 10-0 skunk.
Also, wait, Paolo, did you mention
I had Murphy
you got to
for
win by
sure.
2, right? Win by 2
Yes.
was
Yeah,
our
win
other
by
rule?
2,
Okay,
win by
all right,
2.
cool.
It is currently 4-0 for Jackson. The next question is, who was the first Houston Rocket to win the NBA Six Man of the Year award?
Eric Gordon? There's no way.
That is correct. You got one
Oh
point.
hell yeah!
I really didn't think it was EG. Okay, all right.
I was like, we had Lou Will on the roster. Does that count? And I was like, oh no, he was on the.
Okay,
don't call it a comeback.
Gotta get a. I don't know. I'm not about to start talking shit just yet.
Which Rocket holds the NBA single season record for offensive rebounds?
Otis Thorpe.
No.
Oh, we both got it wrong. Okay, so we get another crack at it. We both got it wrong.
I guess.
Oh wow,
Rebounds.
offensive rebounds. You said
offensive rebounds,
right?
Yes.
And you said NBA record
Single season record.
for the NBA.
One.
That is incorrect. Don, you have a chance to steal.
Ooh.
Single season rebound record. Moses Malone.
Yes.
Dang. Okay. All right, there he goes. Oh man. All right.
Right. This is now 4-3. Jackson is leading. So, but it's the comeback is indeed real.
Let me get that for the thumbnail. Me tripping.
Okay. Which Rockets coach resigned after being diagnosed with bladder cancer?
What?
Ooh, I do not know.
Jackson.
Do you want the options?
Hold on. It wasn't. I bet it's got to be some older coach.
I guess
I'm not gonna guess
options.
Options. Yeah, I guess give the options.
The options are Rudy Tomjanovich, Jeff Van Gundy, Don Chaney, and Rick Adelman.
I'm gonna say Don Chaney because that's me.
That is incorrect, Jackson.
I don't remember I was alive for all the other ones. I don't remember any of them retiring.
I don't remember that being Rudy T's reason. I'm gonna go Rick Adelman.
That is also incorrect. Do you want to go with the two options left? It's a 50-50 for Don, otherwise Jack. So it's the 50-50.
I think neither of us deserve this point.
Yeah, we don't deserve this point.
Yeah, this was awful. We should know this too. What happened?
It was Rudy T.
I don't remember that.
Wow, I don't either. I mean, that's at the earlier stages of my Rockets fandom, but still, I don't remember that. Okay,
I feel like that would have come up at some point. I mean, we just did the Rudy T at Hall of Fame induction. Like, you think, survived bladder cancer would have been thrown in the mix. Maybe it was a HIPAA thing. I don't know.
Okay, all right. Next question.
All right, which Rocket holds the NBA record for most free throws made in a game with no misses?
Calvin Murphy.
With no misses?
Incorrect.
Jackson?
With no misses.
Yes.
What? Can I steal again? No, I don't think I'll get it.
Yao Ming.
Incorrect.
Damn, I really thought that was going to be a trick question. No, I don't want the options.
Wait,
most free throws in the game.
throws made in one game with
James
no
Harden.
misses. James Harden. Okay, that is correct.
Oh my god!
I really thought it was a trick question. I wanted to say James so bad, but I was like, "There's no way." Wasn't
Calvin the lead? Didn't he have the NBA record for most consecutive free throws made for a while or something?
Yeah, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if he's only getting 4 a game.
Oh my god! Why did
James
he
Harden
make
made 24 free throws with no misses in December 3rd, 2019, in a loss to the Spurs.
I'm sure I watched that game. I don't remember that.
Well, this is just 1 point for Jackson because y'all missed it the first time, so it's no stealing.
Okay.
Okay. I guess that
should have been super obvious if you ever thought that.
This is the last one I'll pull from this website. Which Rocket is the oldest player in NBA history to record more than 20 rebounds in one game?
Nene.
I was thinking that.
Incorrect.
Dikembe Mutombo.
Oh no!
That is correct. That's 2 points for Don.
Yeah, let's go.
So it is tied 5-5.
Oh man!
I'm pulling these out by the skin of my
that pops
teeth
in my
here.
head
This
too
is not a dominant performance.
I thought Marcus Camby too for a split second, and then I was like, the recency bias hit me like a truck, and I was like, it's got to be Nene.
I was thinking Nene too. I was like, damn, Nene was old as hell. He was up there balling. Like, it's got to be him too. And I was like, I don't know. It seems too easy.
This one I'll declare it myself. It's basically impossible. So I'm making a judgment decision here. If anybody gets this, it's worth 2 points just off the rip. The question is, who did the Rockets get in return when they traded Moses Malone to the 76ers?
No, I should know this. Oh, I think I do know this. It was someone who, like...
If you can get one of the names right, I'll consider it a correct answer.
You can't give him 2 points if he only gets one of the names.
Right?
Sure.
No.
You get 1 point.
Hold on. Okay, Moses Malone from the Sixers, right?
Yes. This is in 1982.
I got nothing.
I got nothing either. I passed. We both failing this question.
Okay. It was
something Dawkins.
32-year-old Caldwell Jones.
No, I wouldn't have got that.
Right.
Yeah, there's no way.
What was I thinking? I was thinking now.
Okay, already for next
someone
one.
more high profile.
I'm ready.
It is, what is Tracy McGrady's middle name?
His middle name?
Yes. You can't Google it.
His middle name is Mac. His last name is Grady. Hello. No, I'm kidding. That's not a real answer.
Not Murray. Tracy.
Do you want the options?
Trick question. Tracy is his middle name.
Is that your answer?
No, it's not my answer. That would be really dumb. You're smiling like it may be right. If that ends up being right, I'd be really mad.
I'm down for the.
I don't know.
Give us the options.
The options are Stacy, Lamar, William,
Stacy. It's Stacy. No.
It is Stacy.
I think it's Stacy. I think it's Stacy.
You got it. You got it.
Which one of
Tracy Stacy McGrady? That should make no sense though. But I know I've heard people say Stacy McGrady.
Which one of you are looking at that answer? Because
say them again. Say them.
He called Stacy. No, he locked in Stacy already.
I did not lock it in.
Before you even finished reading off the answers, you were saying Stacy. Like, okay. Don's locked in. What's the rest of the answers?
Don locked in Stacy. Don locked in Stacy, and it wasn't Stacy. So Jackson has a chance to steal.
So what were the rest of them? Because I couldn't hear over Don going Stacy.
Lamar, William, and Steve.
Tracy Stacy would be really funny though. I'm happy to do that if I have a camera and do something funny.
Tracy Stacy McGrady.
I'm about to tweet that out. I'm gonna tweet that out right now.
Tracy Stacy McMacy.
I'm tweeting it out right now.
I'm gonna go with Lamar.
That is correct.
Oh my god!
I got the +2 on a prayer.
You don't deserve 2 points, but I'll give it to you. All right. Let me pull up the next one.
Hold on, let me tweet out Tracy Stacy McGrady. This is a real time Easter egg for you guys. Go find out my timeline and retweet it if you listen to this.
What? Wait, how this question is very poorly formatted, whatever. What Houston Rocket was the 12th leading scorer during the 86-87 NBA season?
Leading scorer for the whole NBA?
Yeah, it has to be.
12th leading scorer, yeah.
Ralph Sampson.
Oh, shit. That's a good answer.
Correct.
Well, this is I already.
Don, you have a chance to steal this.
Moses wasn't on the Rockets then. He's wrong. He locked in Moses Malone.
Okay.
What year am I thinking of? No, what was it?
No, he's wrong. He said Moses Malone.
Yeah, it's wrong. It's free for all again. So if y'all have another
go. Yeah.
He was a king, dude.
There we go.
When
I'm over
did
here,
Moses Malone get off the Rockets? Hold on, let me
overthinking
look
everything.
this
Dude,
up.
we literally
I
just had a question where
told you.
Moses Malone got
82.
traded in 82, bro. What are you doing?
Oh, was it the same year? I was not paying
No, it
attention
was
to the
5
year.
years later.
Oh, that's right. It's 86. That's right. Well, I thought he got traded to the Rockets from the 76ers. Yeah, that question said to the Rockets.
No, away from
No,
the
it was-
Rockets.
It was
to
away
the
from the
Sixers.
Rockets?
Yes.
Who
I
was
could
he
swear you
traded
said
for?
to the Rockets.
No,
That's why I
Moses
said
was on the
that.
Rockets from like 70 something to 82 or whatever.
Okay.
Okay, yeah, I thought he was in the Rockets first. That's why that question confused me.
All right, well, I got 1 point for that. What are we at? Scorekeeper.
Getting
We're
cooked.
at 8-5 for Jackson.
Okay.
So
I gotta
you
do
need
something
to
here.
pull
I'm
this
getting-
back.
What are we playing to? 11? 12?
Sure.
Win by 2. 20 questions, win by 2.
All right, so play to 11, win by 2, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sure.
All right.
Okay. Who did the Houston Rockets draft as the third player taken in the 1983 NBA draft?
$1983?
Yes.
Ralph Sampson.
No.
What?
Don to steal. And
Oh, I
after this, I'll
just
give you
saw it. I just saw it too. Because I
As the
looked at a
third
list.
player?
The third pick.
Who? What?
Don, I need an answer because I'll give out the options because I don't think y'all are gonna get it otherwise.
I know it's like it's not a big name guy. This guy was a bust.
Give me one name.
I think.
I'll
Nah,
take.
he doesn't have it, and he doesn't get the bounce
I
back.
just-
If, like
I just
gotta submit
saw,
an
I
answer.
just saw the list. I have no answer. I just saw the list. So when you say, I'm gonna be like, oh, I just.
so
saw
then
it. I
I'm
can't
back
think
in.
of it.
I'm back in play
Yeah,
if
you're
he
back
reads out
in,
the
yeah.
answers. You know that,
Yeah,
right?
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah, I
good.
know. I just
gotta
took a
get
bunch
a-
of hints too.
This dead air is amazing for the show. I'm just putting that out there.
Gotta get an answer, dude.
We're all just staring at each other. No, he said he doesn't know.
No,
so
I
we're
have no
reading out the
idea.
names. Let's go.
Okay.
Just read out the
The
names.
names. It is the four options are Herb Williams, Rodney McRae, Charles Barkley, or Michael Cage.
This still doesn't help me.
Read them again.
It's not Barkley.
Herb Williams, Rodney McRae, Charles Barkley, or Michael Cage.
I'm gonna go Rodney McRae.
That is correct.
Ooh.
Don, you're falling behind here, dude.
I had no idea. I swear I had seen the list because they were tweeting out all the Rockets' top 3 picks. You said pick third, right?
Yeah.
That just didn't do it for me.
Wow. Okay.
Okay.
All right.
This one.
I was thinking
How
something
many-
Jones. I was like something Jones. I don't know.
So this one's a number, right? And so the way I'm gonna do this is y'all both say a number, and whichever one is closest is the answer that I'll take. Okay. The question is, how many 3-pointers did the Rockets' Yao Ming make in 2004, 2005? Give me a number.
2004, 2005. It couldn't have been that many. I'm gonna say 31.
Jackson.
You got
2.
32. 2?
Jackson. Don, you're like it was 0, dude.
What?
What? I was like, there's no way it's more than 5. Like in my head, Don's like 32. Like, when did you ever see Yao Ming ripping threes like that, bro?
I don't know.
Your
I'm used
your
to-
Rockets card is revoked, man.
I'm
Get out of
used to-
here.
I'm used to like high.
He's acting like
3-point
Yao
numbers. I
Ming's
was
out
like-
there.
I was like, I'll pick a low number, like, because I'm thinking like James Harden make 33s in like 3 games. Like, I don't know, this can't be the whole
Yeah, but Yao
season.
never
Like,
pulled threes like that. That's why it was like 2, maybe like a half court heave here and there. Like 0. What a trick question. Whatever. I'll take my point because I was closer.
I got
Okay.
Mike D'Antoni into a high guess there. I'm just like traumatized by how many threes we shot.
What's our score now? Score keep?
It is 10-5. Don.
Ooh,
Damn, I'm
danger
just
zone.
finished. I
Game
told
point.
you, bro. I got it close there on some wild guesses. I should have got that McRae one. That's the one I regret. I just looked at
Okay.
that list. And I had just no recall of it.
This one's kind of funny. Who was the lightest player on the 2005-2006 Houston Rockets? The lightest.
The lightest.
player. Yeah.
I have 2 guesses, and I don't think either of them are right. I think both of them played after this.
Same. I'm kind of because I'm hung up on one because I don't remember if he actually played for the Rockets at all. I think he did for a brief stint, if I'm not completely off base.
You're talking about the least LBS of anyone?
Yes.
2005?
It's actually the least kilograms, but whatever.
The least kilogram, that's fine too, yeah. Whatever y'all doing over there.
Can we have a hint as to the height of the player? No, I want to know the height of the player.
I mean, it's got to be under 6 feet. It's got to be under 6 feet.
Okay, I'll give you the height of the player. He was 6'2".
6'2"?
6'2". Oh, Lord have mercy. Okay, never mind. It's not who I thought it was.
I was thinking, I'm going to say these names and not think it's either one of these now. I was thinking Bob Sura.
You can say one name.
Or Rafer Alston. Rafer Alston was real skinny. I think he was taller than that.
Rafer wasn't with the team yet in 0405.
That's what I was thinking. I was thinking of skinny guys.
0506.
0506?
Oh, 05. Rafer still wasn't with the team, right?
Yeah, I think it was after that. Damn, 0506.
Joe,
give us the names. Give me the names.
Okay. So the answers are Yao Ming.
Okay, well, that's a big fat nope. Bob Sura,
Rafer Alston, and David Wesley.
How did I get two of the names? That's crazy. Okay, I'm gonna put Rafer Alston.
Okay, wait. Well, Jackson, how come you didn't say anything?
Rafer Alston, yeah.
Hello.
Did he win? He got Rafer Alston. Okay, all right, that's fine. He can have his.
I don't understand how I got two of them. Like of the guesses, that's crazy.
I was reading them out and I was like, okay, whoever says it fastest, it's gonna win.
I wanted to see who the last name was because again, we were like, Rafer was like, yeah, he was like skinny, but I wanted to see if there was like another like sleeper pick at number 4,
like Muggsy Bogues. Muggsy Bogues is on the Rockets. Because he wasn't 6'2" either, so I knew it could have been him.
Anyways, all right, so Don gets his point.
Yeah,
Rafer Alston, my favorite non-star Rocket of all time. By the way, I'll just get that in there. I've said that a couple times.
Hakeem Olajuwon. Wait, where's my? Okay, Hakeem Olajuwon did not become an official U.S. citizen until what year? And I'll take whichever one is closest.
2005.
2007.
Jackson wins, but it's not even close.
I feel like that's a terrible question to go out on. No, that's I don't even like. I don't even want to win the game on that question because like I legitimately had no idea.
What was it like? 94, 93?
Yes. Okay.
Yeah. Neither of us should get a point out. That's awful.
Yeah.
Give us one more. I don't want to go out on that one. This is my hubris showing, and watch Don's gonna like come back and win it all.
I'm still surprised I got that last one so close because I was literally like, just who are some small people?
Okay,
I literally got two.
Okay, so this I'm now understanding that this is an older
trivia
quiz,
set,
but I'll adapt the question. The question is, who was the last Rocket to win an NBA award as an individual player? This doesn't count all NBA teams, and Eric Gordon and James Harden MVPs and 6 Man of the Year don't count.
What?
So
why
before
not?
Before them.
Okay, so before Harden, who was the last Rocket to win
individual award? I think this is a good one. When y'all learn the answer, y'all gonna see why this is a good one to go off of if Jackson gets it right.
We're not counting like 3-point shooting contest award winner, silly stuff like that.
The scoring champion count or no?
No, it's an NBA award, so it comes out in the
So
ceremony.
Depoy. Rookie of the Year.
Can I give a hint?
I'm gonna say Steve Francis, Rookie of the Year.
No, Jackson.
Give me a second. I'm thinking. Hang on.
Did he win that?
Man, I'm running through all. Oh, I know what it is. Wait, is it exclusive to? It's Mike D'Antoni, Coach of the Year.
No, that was after James Harden's MVP, I think.
No, that was before James Harden's MVP.
Oh man, that doesn't count because that's not the answer. I'm sorry. It's before that.
What? Come on! I was
right
so
on the
close.
Rookie
You were
of the
like,
Year,
it doesn't.
though.
You were like, but we can't count that within the confines of the way you adjusted the question. That should count.
You know what's crazy? Steve Francis did win Rookie of the Year, but they split it.
Yeah,
so he
it
won
was the
co-Rookie of the Year.
BS. Anyways, the Mike D'Antoni Coach of the Year was 16-17, so that was the same year that Eric Gordon won his Sixth Man of the Year. But
that doesn't count. So do we count?
It has to be in between. It has to be in between that.
I had a wrong. So like, what is our hint?
Your hint is it's a fan favorite.
Excuse me?
I think y'all are forgetting one award.
Did Patrick Beverly make all defensive team or something?
No, that doesn't count. All
that doesn't count?
Doesn't count.
Okay.
MVP, Coach of the Year,
Rookie of the Year.
Rookie of the Year.
Most improved?
Oh, most improved. Oh, wait. Who most improved? Oh man, we're gonna get
read out the options.
Complete. There are no options. He modified the question. Give us a hint. You said you had a hint earlier.
The hint was it's a fan favorite.
That's a terrible hint. You're bad at this. You're a terrible host, Alves Trebek.
Let me pull him up. Sorry.
This is awful. Oh, we're floundering on this last question.
I'm gonna say he was drafted by the Rockets.
There's a lot of guys that the Rockets drafted, bro. We need something more than that.
He was from Seattle.
Kevin Porter Jr. No.
Kevin Porter Jr. wasn't drafted by the Rockets, bro. Come on.
I'm trying to throw you off right now.
Yeah, sure. That's exactly what you're doing.
From Seattle, Rafael Stone, General Manager of the Year. Oh, that was in the future. Sorry.
Carl Landry?
No. Don, you have part of the.
All right, Jackson's out.
Well, I'm out until you get it wrong again.
From Seattle.
I think he only gets one more guess, and then we move on to the next question because we're like floundering on this. This is terrible.
I have no idea, bro. Oh, wait. No, I was thinking Rashard Lewis. He played in Seattle. He was from Houston. I have no idea.
All right.
Can I
lay it on us?
Yes.
Just
no.
Maybe Don gets the fucking question right.
No, we're both back in it. He passed again. We're both back in it. If you give another hint, let's go.
No, I just fuck this question. Go to a different question.
The next hint is he was drafted in the 2007 draft.
Aaron Brooks.
Yes.
I wanted to pick Aaron Brooks earlier, and I can't remember what award did he win?
MIP.
Most improved?
MIP.
I wanted to pick Aaron Brooks so early on. And I kept thinking, I was like, I went back through all those years, and I was like, there's not.
I don't remember him winning most improved.
I don't either. That's why I didn't pick him.
When I think of Aaron Brooks, I think of Lil Wayne saying, y'all can't pass like Aaron Brooks, and that line being about the Saints quarterback, and me thinking it was about the Rockets Aaron Brooks for a long time. And I was like, why is he accusing him of not being able to pass? Like, it's such a crazy allegation.
He jumped from 11 points per game to 19.6, from 3 assists to 5 assists. Like, he had a really big jump, and he was more
because AD became the starter, and he started cooking. I loved Aaron Brooks. 0 to hero,
I
baby.
thought he was a fan favorite.
All right, well, I win off that terrible question.
Wait, that's a terrible question as well. Oh no,
we had 5 guesses.
It was only terrible because Don and I made it terrible. It was a good question, Paolo. We messed it up, but I will take the dub off that one. What's the final score? 11 to what?
11 to 6.
It could have been worse. I thought I was getting.
I got a fun one. I had a fun one which is which early Rockets superstar had the worst fundamentals of any player ever coached by the legendary Tex Winter. I was just reading because I didn't know about it. That's why I found it funny.
I have no idea.
Yes, it's Elvin Hayes.
Wow, there we go.
He said
Jackson wins now. He just gets some levels up on all these questions.
All
right, Jackson, take your victory lap here.
I'm taking no such victory lap. I was absolutely destroying you early on, and then I limped to the finish line in that trivia session. So I'm not going to run laps.
That's fair. I thought I was I thought I had no chance at the beginning, and then
You were a worthy opponent.
I don't accept that characterization. I was a passable opponent. But that's sorry.
Wait.
I'm just kind of in like chill mode now because I was having fun with this.
I want to get another fun before we close. Can any of y'all remember one question for me? Remember that I
You want me to
became a
ask you a
fan
question?
like 5 or 6 years ago. I'm not
5
sure
years
exactly
ago.
when.
Okay, hold
So I
on.
can look
Rockets.
bad as well, you know.
I'll
Like,
ask you a trivia question. Okay. Hopefully they don't give me the same one. Oh, this is a good one. This is a great one for Paulo since he just became a Rockets fan 5 years ago. Where were the Houston Rockets originally located?
Oh, that's easy.
Oh, that one's easy. Okay, I'll give you another one. Let's give you another one then.
It's San Diego.
Okay, very good. All right, let's give you another one. I think these may have been the questions that you were doing. These are definitely questions you were doing.
Not here. I've got a good one for him.
They weren't, but I know because if you search up Rockets on B-Ball Ref, it comes up San Diego Rockets as well.
No, these are definitely questions you're using because I see a bunch of them now.
Okay, but I didn't like they don't give you the answer unless you click on it.
Okay. Jackson, do you have one? Because now I can't find anyone that he hasn't been using.
Who was the Rockets' first round draft pick in 2015?
2015.
Oh, I know this.
2015. I could count back the years, but I won't try hard. I'll say Clint Capella.
It is not Clint Capella.
Wait, it's just one?
It's just one.
Is it Sam Decker?
I was gonna go Sam Decker.
It is Sam Decker.
There we go.
I did that on purpose because Clint is the year right before Decker, and I knew it was going to throw him off the scent.
God damn it! I should have. I knew Sam Decker was like. So I knew Decker was a first round pick in the draft that they only had one, and so I immediately knocked out like the Royce White draft or whatever, the Jeremy Lamb draft. I should have known that. I mean, if I try hard and I counted back, like I know Clint Capella's contract.
Excuses.
Yeah, you're talking a lot right now, brother.
All right, give me what make me look good.
Oh my God. I gave you one that made you look good.
No, we're not going to give you a softball. That was your softball. Stop. No, we're done. We're done.
That was before I became a fan.
You'll get your chance one day.
I was just on clutchfancaros.net and I tried to look at the answers to their questions, and it shows like a internal server error. So Clutch fans, if you're watching this, like you need to fix your trivia question page. You probably haven't looked at this in a long time. It's got James Harden picture on it. So let me see. Why won't not show me the answers?
It's okay. We'll get him another time.
Yeah, we'll get
him an official trivia question at some point.
You know what? How about this? If you're listening to this show right now and you're on Twitter, tweet Paulo a trivia question for him.
Or better, comment it on the YouTube page.
If you're on YouTube, comment the trivia question on the YouTube page, and we will force Paulo to answer the question. So I think that's a great way to send us off. It has been an interesting show. It's been a fun show. It has unfortunately for me been a non-victorious show. As always, you can find me on Twitter at Don Knock and follow the pod at ClutchGCR. If you go in the bio there, in the description there, you can see the link tree for Apple, YouTube, Spotify links. Paulo, tell the people they can find your stuff.
Yeah, Don just went over 27. Yeah, y'all can find me on Twitter at Paulo.
It wasn't that bad.
You lost 11-6, dude.
That's not over 27. Aren't you the math one? I'm contractually obligated to not do math here. I know that's not as bad.
You lost by more than the Rockets did that night, dude.
No, it was like 9. I know it was 9.
Yes, but like you lost by 45% or whatever.
Oh my God! The amount of math that has been going on right now is completely unacceptable. I'm gonna need you to issue an apology.
Y'all can find me on Twitter at Paulo Alves NBA. That's PAULOALVES NBA. Everything I do, from podcasts like this one to the live shows on Twitter Spaces to now game show hosting, will find itself linked on there.
Jackson, tell the people where they can find your stuff.
You can find me on Twitter at JT Gatlin. You can find me at all the various podcasts that I do. Locked on Rockets every day of the week. Locked on NBA on Mondays. State of the Rockets about once a week right now in the off season, usually once a week. And then bi-weekly here at the Launchpad podcast for everything Clutch City Control Room.
There we go. So until next time, leave a YouTube comment. Be safe and go Rockets.